Okay. Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to your Yin Yoga practice this morning. Thank you so much for tuning in and being patient with our internet issues here in the jungle. And welcome. We have Trey and Dexter, a quarantine family here today. Let's just come to a seat. You can use your blanket to sit up on. Today we'll be using 2 blocks and a strap. So if you have a belt as well, you can, get a belt if you don't have a yoga strap. And let's just take a seat and bring our hands to our hearts and bow in. This morning for Yin Yoga, settle in, ground down. Let's breathe. Close the eyes. And for today's practice, we once again learn to feel. We learn to get in touch with the experience of feeling as Yin invites us into the depths of ourself. As you start to breathe deeply, deeper than the breath that you arrived with this morning, bring your personal intention that supports you, your sankalpa, that supports you into this feeling experience. Allow the external distractions to dissolve. Feel the way you are grounded right now and tuning in internally to the breath. Let's collectively take this intention of being inward, of tuning in, staying in touch with the feelings today. This is our portal. And with this personal intention, we will keep the breaths deep, both in and out. The breath will get us in touch. The breath keeps us in touch with our own spirit. Keep these personal intentions weaving into the breath. And let's begin our practice together in our first shape. We'll be getting deeper and deeper into the felt experiences of the shapes as we go. So I'd like you to take your 2 blocks and line them up side by side on your mat. Bring your blanket to maybe a rolled blanket to rest your head on. Some friends may not want to use the blanket at all. It'll be, how it feels to you. So I do invite you to experiment in these shapes. Sit in front of your blocks. Roll back to where the blocks are underneath the upper back. So you're finding that support, that compression. And this is very broad under the lungs or heart, in the thoracic spine or the upper back. Your blanket can be propped underneath your skull, underneath your head. And your head is lower than your heart here. The pelvis sits and rests. It stays down on the earth. So if you find that the pelvis is lifting, come back to, rising up and then adjusting your seat. So sit a little bit more in front of the blocks if that's happening. And then settle in. Where you land is not necessarily where you stay. So again, we've invoked feeling for this practice as a portal. this is our information that we start to get in touch with. Like any feeling that we might have, it's a temperature taking of where we're at. And so when you come onto the blocks, when you come onto these blocks that we use as compression, it's going to give you information of where you need to be on them. And this should feel edgy. We're opening the heart space right now. This is a shape to open the heart and increase flexibility in the upper back. So physically, we're benefiting already, even with the compression and the uncomfortableness of this shape. Choose where you want your legs to be. If you want to extend them out and just let them flop, if you'd like to bring the soles of the feet together and drop the knees wide, if you'd like to walk the feet wide and drop the knees in. These are all choices depending on how you feel in your body this morning. The arms may come over your head, and that gets a little edgy for some of us, maybe too much. We don't go into any sharper shooting sensations. So you might come back and just spread the arms a little bit more. But maybe we need a little bit more of that suspension space, heart space opening. So this is also an option here in lung bench. Close the eyes and keep breathing and tuning in to yourself. We're all feeling a collective, it's not really shock. Okay? We're feeling so much on so many levels from what's happening in our world around us. Between this pandemic and the protesting that is really uprising very, very deep wounds. This is the time of Kali. Kali, the Dark One, the goddess, who destroys. She is a goddess of compassion. This is the part of Kali that we forget. We just see her ripping heads off and looting and bleeding in her most fierce form. We forget that the underlying reason for this battle, these battles with demons within ourselves, is compassion. This is what she wants. Within compassion, and this is what we get in touch with when we tune in, within compassion, there is justice, there is peace. This is a very personal inquiry. When we come into our yin practice, we go into the depths of our psyche. It's only you that feels what you feel. It's only you that knows your true, most intimate inquiries and thoughts. Your most inward reactions. So in support of our own selves, our own honest inquiry on our own battlefield with what is happening, we are courageously diving in. Remember, compassion is the foundation today. Compassion holds the keys. Allow yourself to adjust if there's any adjustments you need to make. Maybe the sensation fades here, so you need to come up and move your blocks a little lower in this upper back area, maybe a little higher. So in these shapes, we go toward the uncomfortable. This is the courageous practice itself of leaning in to what doesn't feel right. But we know holds the keys. We know that going into the uncomfortable places within ourselves is the way. We know that when we stay and we work with compassion in our shadow, in our darkness, on our battlefield, that we come to know what's truly going on. We come to that place of unification that exists. That field of there's no rights, there's no wrongs here. It's unified. This is the field of consciousness, of oneness, of awareness. It exists. Right now we're exploring our separated threads, the illusions. Our experiences are different in this life. A few more rounds of that deep, excavating breath. We have to explore this. With compassion, this journey to awareness. If we don't explore this journey, if we don't explore this excavation, we are diseased. We're in a state of dis-ease. And it won't go away. We are going to feel more and more tender, more and more fragile from these deeper held shapes in the body. So I'm asking you to, with the greatest compassion that we've already invoked here, to move slowly in between our shapes today. We're getting into the tender places that may hurt, that may feel fragile for a long time, but are necessary to heal. If your arms are over your head, come back with the arms to the side, maybe using the arms to press down into the earth to lift the heart off your blocks. Maybe some of you roll to the side and you can rise up off the blocks from rolling to the side and then pressing into the earth to come on all the way up. Some deep breaths in between. We're going to turn over onto the belly, and we'll be continuing in the heart and lung meridians in our next shape. And I invite you to use your blanket to pad your chest, to pad your chest and belly, perhaps if you unfold the blanket. You might want to take one of your blocks to the top of the edge of the blanket. We'll be laying face down on the blanket. You also may use your strap or your belt if you have one, and it's not necessary if you don't. So this bind that we're going into to open the chest and open the heart is not necessary. You'll feel something regardless of having the belt or the strap. Come onto your belly slowly, so turn over and face down. And again, your head might rest on your block, and it may not. You might just put your head all the way down to the earth, and that might feel soothing too. Reach one arm above your head. Reach one arm above your head, and then bend that elbow and pat your back so your palm faces down. Your other arm reaches out to the side, and some friends might want to hold the strap if you have one in that hand. The other arm reaches to the side, out to the side 90 degrees, and then you'll internally rotate that arm to your back. So you're just bending the other elbow and placing the back of the hand on your back. And there's a swimming of the bottom arm toward that top hand. So if you can kind of swim the fingers up. And again, with a little maneuvering, you could use a strap between your hands to hold on to. And this might be helpful in that swimming the bottom hand up. So go ahead and come into that bind, that cow face bind. I know it is the Mukasana bind. There we go. And then you're working on, again, swimming the bottom arm up, which gets into a little bit of a tricky area for a lot of us through the deltoid area that we don't open up a lot in the chest. It may be very uncomfortable for some of us depending on our shoulder situation. We're opening the heart again. I want you to really relax down deep into the belly, into the earth. Let it go. So practicing yin, we soften all of the connective tissue into a hydration. So we allow there to be tension. We allow there to be tension for several minutes. We're also relaxing all the muscles here. So I know some shapes you're going to feel muscular support just for the shape itself, but our intention is to relax everything into the sensation, into whatever shape, whatever bind we might be working with. So scan yourself and see if there's a place in the body that maybe out of habit is holding on or restricted that you can relax. Maybe it's in the face, maybe it's in the belly. And it is a really nice compression here for the pelvis itself. We'll be taking two sides with this. This is just our first side. This is a bilateral shape. So just remember which arm is the top arm or the first arm that you raised up. You'll just be switching at home eventually, which will be very different. Keep working into the bind, into swimming the bottom fingers up. Some friends at home might have the clasp, and that's okay. If you have the clasp and you're kind of pushing through too much, you may need to ease off, right? So this is that dance that we invite ourselves to with feeling, with understanding what we're feeling. If we're using too much force or aggression, we're going to back off. It's probably injurious, right? It's probably just like real life, where we need to know when to back off. Are we working with the intention of compassion the whole time? So this is where we're really checking in the underlayment of what we're feeling. So we get in touch with the feeling, we're uncomfortable, and then we make the choice through compassion. So this isn't complacency. This practice isn't complacency. We don't want to feel nothing. We want to put ourselves in touch with that uncomfortable sensation. So this, again, is what yin is inviting us today to explore. Just like off the mat, we cannot be complacent when there are things happening that are not for the good of the whole. That's not how the world works. This is how we'll stay separate, right? Our separate threads for a really long time. So we can take this same intention that we're using today and look at the underlayment of all of what we do, all of our thoughts, everything that we do off the mat, all of our reactions, right? And again, a lot of them are very personal and intimate. We think to ourselves more than we think out loud to somebody else. So it's really good grist for the mill here. And a mill grinds. A mill grinds away. Kali grinds away on that battlefield. The underlayment, again, let's hold that in our heart, is compassion. Compassion includes, it's inclusive, it holds justice, it holds peace, it holds love. Because all it wants is that wholeness for the good. We can do this through our speech, asking ourselves the important questions, the gateways. Is it appropriate? Is it true? Is it kind? It's so important. The feeling will always be the temperature we take. Feelings change. Sensations change. A couple more rounds of breath on this side. We're going to, again, I'll remind you to move slow. We'll be feeling vulnerable. Again, we're in the heart and lung meridians, which is a great thing to clear and serve today. If you do have a strap, let's go ahead and release that strap. All of us will just take the arms down slowly to the sides of the body. So just kind of drag the arms down alongside of you and just rest. Just allow there to be the feeling of neutral. We will again be switching sides, but give yourself this breathing time in between. Ultimately, we surrender. This is what we learn in any of our yoga classes where we take Shavasana. In the end, we surrender what we must. And so this is the inventory we take through feeling, through this portal, foundation, compassion. And we let burn away what needs to be let go of within ourselves. And this is healing. Remember which arm you put above your head first. And we're going to take that second side. So again, we'll reach the other arm above the head. Bend the elbow. The palm faces down onto the back. If you want to take your strap here and place it in that hand, that would be a good time. The other arm reaches out to the side. Bend the elbow and take your other hand, to your strap. And then we work on the sensation by reaching or swimming the bottom hand up toward the top hand rather than pushing the bottom hand down. So let's work with the intention of swimming the hand that's below the top hand up. Resting your head, letting the belly relax into the earth. And notice how very different this side feels already. How very different the sensation of this side feels. And some of us were able to maybe take the bind on one side, and you'll notice, and there's the strap. You'll notice, and Trey, would you like a strap?
No.
So you'll notice that that's how very different we are within ourselves. So if you haven't tried this shape before, there's a lot of discovery with that. It's good to know that we move our bodies so differently, and here is the result. That our bones have formed differently, our tensions have formed differently. Bilateral poses really shed some light on that. Keep breathing. Keep feeling. This is the basic skill here that we're working with, that we're feeling, that we're getting ourselves in touch. We're receiving information. Just going to share a little story with you from Mark Nepo called The Monkey in the River. The simplest and hardest thing to do each day is to be here, fully, completely, without running or turning away. And there's a story I love about a master who sends his apprentice to meditate by a river until he's learned all the river has to say. The apprentice is earnest and devoted. He spends several hours finding the right place to sit. At first, he sits very near the bank, but all he can hear is the rush of the river. He's too close. He then moves to the top of the hill overlooking the river, and now he's too far. Finally, he settles midway beneath a willow. He sets out his blanket and sits on his special pillow and begins to meditate. And quickly he dozes off. When he wakes, he feels guilty to have wasted time, and he strains to focus and tries even harder. After 3 days, the apprentice is exhausted and has a terrific headache. And just then, a monkey happens along and jumps in the river, splashing and yapping and hooting. This cracks the apprentice, who begins to weep. Not sure what has happened, he gathers his things and returns to tell all to his master. His master sighs and puts his hand on the young man's shoulder and says, "Ah, the monkey heard. You just listened." Just pause the readings there. The monkey heard, you just listened. So that difference between hearing and listening, right, really puts us in touch with experience, which is what this is. Our true experience, our true feeling. So feeling puts us in touch with what we're hearing, what we're experiencing. It's a portal. A few more rounds of the breath as you open. We must hone this skill of ours constantly. We really have to. A little bit more time and we'll be slow. Again, very compassionate about the release. No quick, jerky movements to get out. Let's glide out. So if you have the strap, just release it. Allow the arms to slide down alongside of you and feel neutral once again in the shoulders. Breathe. We stay here on the belly, on the blanket. You can continue to use it. You may want to get your other block. So we'll be facing the earth for the next shape again. Stay on the belly here. And we take Sphinx, which we start to work into urinary bladder meridian through the back body. The Sphinx pose is a back bend. So we will be feeling the lumbar curve, pressing down through the forearms. We do use a little bit more yang in this pose, and that we're upright in the upper body. So again, in some of our shapes, the muscular support is necessary. But unlike when we usually or normally practice this pose in some of our other yang classes, we can allow there to be kind of a sinking down. And when I sink down into this, I lose my sensation, right? So I lose the edginess in my low back. This is where we're primarily feeling sensation. So I'm going to take my blocks and place my arms, and you can see me for a demo here. I'm going to place my forearms up on these blocks. That brings me back into sensation, but also I'm relaxed in my intention. Right? I'm relaxing. There is a shrug of the shoulders here in my body, something that we're always coming out of in a vinyasa approach or a muscular approach in our practices. So here we relax, we're still letting the belly be soft, and we're feeling primary sensation in the low back. This long lost curve in our life, in our spine, the low back. We need this lumbar curve. This is a big, vulnerable feeling, sensation, at least very physically for us, because of all our sitting that we're doing, all of the tucking under of our pelvis that we're in. So this is quite edgy. I know it's quite edgy for me. If you want to experiment with the sensation again, you now know you have these blocks here. They can even go a little higher. You can adjust the height of these blocks. This is a lot more, right? They get a little bit less stable with that, so be careful with the stability. And if that's too much, remember we're learning when we need to back off. And so coming down might be where we need to be this morning. So you have all the choices of how to adjust the sensation in the lumbar area. Close the eyes and continue to breathe into what feels uncomfortable. We've got to get good at this. Really to breathe into the sensations that we don't like, the places we don't want to live in, but we need to get in touch with. We're collectively doing this together, this yin practice together this morning, for the good of all. Not just ourselves, but how we can better serve when we're functioning better in our body, how we can better serve humanity. So ultimately, there is a ripple effect here when we practice self-care, and self-care isn't always rainbows, right? As we know from this more reflective time that we're taking. So we're going in, and again, lately there has been so much going on for this inquiry. There has been so much that we can reflect on from within ourselves that needs excavating. This is the best time to be doing the work. This is the best time to be taking inventory, to get in touch with, to get on that battlefield within, in the name of compassion. So what are those most intimate sensations and feelings within yourself? What are some past experiences that maybe have hardened us or numbed us out or have simply shaped things that are not true that we hold on to? What can get brought to the light and what can be released in the most intimate of way within ourselves? This is only for you to know as you explore. Feel free to let the head go. The head is heavy, so it adds some weight, it adds some sensation, some stretch opening into the back of the neck. So we can allow that. You can also use a block, if you're not using both of them, to rest your head on. With Kali, with putting ourselves in direct experience with life, which is the battleground, the cremation ground, It really represents a big field of change. In the life cycles, in these stories, these beloved stories, it simply represents change. And so when we notice that there's opportunity for this change, things can open up. Unless we don't like it and we become more stubborn, more closed, more complacent, more numb, more not willing to look, to feel. So it's a choice. A few more rounds of the breath here in Sphinx. Breathe into the back body, breathe into that kidney area, the spaces in the back that we can feel in sensation. We'll turn around eventually, but I'd like you to come down like you did in the last shape, where you just ease your way to the earth fully. Again, maybe sliding the arms down alongside of you, and just breathe into what feels more neutral in the low back, the spine once again. We are going to turn over, and we can move this blanket, and you'll be taking your block with you. We're going to turn around and take the block to the side, and some friends like Lung Bench might want the blocks side by side, so maybe you use 2 blocks, but just have them to the side. Turn onto your back, and you can bend your knees here. We're taking bridge, and we'll take an inversion first. So we're putting the blocks right into the kind of area of sensation we were just in Sphinx. We're going deeper into that sensation. Bending your knees, press your feet into the floor, lift your pelvis up, slide your block underneath the low back area. And so the block might be on its low setting, and it may be on its medium setting. So you don't have to go to the high setting, but maybe you're choosing between the low and the medium setting with the sensation that you're feeling. It could be a little higher, it could be a little lower. Again, we have entered that field of no right, no wrong. It's just putting yourself in touch with what's going on right now inside of you. So adjust as you need to. Don't feel stuck. Don't feel like, oh, this is where I'm supposed to be, and then you stay there, right? We're encouraging change. We're encouraging exploration. Drop the shoulders back now. We're turned the other way. So we have this beautiful compression in the upper back area to the earth. Lift the knees up. The feet come up over the hips, and maybe you stay here for this version of our inversion. Maybe you extend the legs toward the sky. So this is bringing us into more sensation. Shoulders again back. Some friends might lift the arms over the head. And again, that opens up a little bit more. We've been working a lot in the heart and lung meridians. And now the back body meridian. And even here, if you need to move your block to a different location, be willing to. So this is that story we just heard, jumping into the river, not sitting beside it. How are we ever going to get in touch unless we go in? Unless we're willing to feel it, to get wet. And where are we doing that in our life? Has fear, complacency, being numb, or being out of touch, simply out of touch with these aspects of life, put us at a quote-unquote safe distance? And the more we do that, the more we practice not jumping in the river, not going in and getting ourselves in touch with, the more we are going to feel separate. It's how it works. And so we might preach unity and we are all one. But if we're staying in these separate realities, these separate experiences of one's in it and another's not, or not willing, we're not truly unified. Even Buddha learned when he went to the far extreme in his spiritual quest of when he left his comfort zone of his palace where he grew up. He went to the extreme. He was truly by himself, and he didn't eat. He ate that one grain of rice a day. I mean, until he got back in touch, until he knew that the middle way, and that was putting him back in touch with life, with experience itself. Because he grew up very sheltered, very kept away from the leper in the street, the disease. And this was when he realized that there is suffering going on. This is what's happening now. We're out of balance on so many levels, in a social sense, but in an eco sense. We have to jump in the river. We have to feel in order to heal. So I am sending us all the strength and courage and compassion of Kali. The willingness to look. The willingness to speak up. The willingness to fight in the name of compassion for what is right, for what is good, for what is putting us truly in touch with each other and this planet. We slowly lower the feet. Some friends may stay with the feet lifted, so you have this option. Lower one foot at a time to the earth. Adjust your block if you need to. If you want to move the block a little higher, a little lower, feel free to explore this. We stay on our blocks. You can choose. You can keep your knees bent, your feet grounded in the earth, You can extend the legs here, which creates a little bit different, or a lot of different sensation in the low back, but also in the front of the leg. So we start to move into superficially what feels like quadricep tissue or really stuck hip flexor area tissue. So you might be now feeling this with the legs extended, the front of the body along through, and this changes the meridian work or the energy line work as well. This starts to activate the clearing into the stomach and the spleen, where again, we're storing so much fear. The spleen who works with the liver, this organ that works with the liver in the storage of our blood and the cleanliness of our blood itself, the blood that courses, the life force. We breathe these deeper breaths to receive more oxygen. We might be in a state these days of not even taking deep enough breaths. So stay, adjust, allow, surrender. Arms may come over the head at this point if you need more sensation, exploration of sensation in the shoulders and the heart area. Let go where you can through the back body, the parts that are touching and not touching the block. Soften into the back, release. Time to draw the feet back. If your legs are extended in front of you, just draw the feet back. Press down through the feet into the earth. Lift your pelvis. Take the block out from underneath you, set it aside, and come down with the hips back to the earth. Again, very tender. We feel very tender in this back area. We're going to come right into a stretch in this area by crossing with the knees bent. Cross the right leg over the left. And before we take any twist, we're going to take a stretch through the low back and through the outer hips and the gallbladder meridian by drawing this bind up. So the right leg has crossed over the left leg, and then we just take this bind, this cross-legged bind, toward our heart. Lift the feet up, hold on to your legs where you can, and hug in. Do you feel sensation? Yeah. So we start to feel this outer edge of our leg into some of the glute tissue, and much deeper than that. We feel a gentle stretch through the back body. Okay. Okay, I'm going to turn the fan off for you so you can move your blanket. Yeah. It's a cool morning in Costa Rica. We appreciate when it's a cool morning here. It's been really hot. So again, just feeling into the primary sensation. We'll continue with this bind. The leg that's on top, right? We're gonna roll to the side, to the opposite side from the leg that's on top. So if you want to bring the foot down, the legs down, and scoot your hips over to the side of your top leg hip, lift the legs up again in the bind. We're still crossed, and then just roll. Let the legs fall to the opposite side in a twist now through the spine. So we feel a spiral action through the spine with this twist. The other arm lifts up, and we just drop that shoulder back. So we can drop the weight of our shoulder, which brings us back into the heart and lung meridian work and clearing from earlier. So if it's okay in your neck spine, you can turn your head toward your reaching, grounded arm, your opposite arm. So it would be the same arm that you're reaching as the top leg, the same side. I know that sometimes on these videos we're on opposite sides than what I'm verbally saying. So just if it's okay. And then you can bring your head back to center if that feels like it's too much. But if you are exploring a full spiral through the spine, and this includes the cervical part of the spine, then you would roll your head toward that reaching arm. The shoulder doesn't have to be touching the floor or anything like that. We're just working with that gravity of letting go. Breathe into the spaces through the ribs, through the side seam. Maybe you're adjusting where the legs are. You could come up a little higher, you could come down a little lower, and see how that changes the sensation. Remember, you are excavating, you are going toward feeling. You are constantly evolving toward feeling, which constantly evolves you into transformation, into change. A few more breaths in this spiral side of things. And we bring it back slowly, always reminding you that we have been very deep in our tissues, so we want to give those tissues some time. Travel back slowly to center. Shift your hips back to the center if you've moved them. Uncross the legs. And we feel very one-sided here, so we have a second side. Let's cross the other leg on top. Create your bind and take some breaths. So you're switching your sides now. And then draw the legs up. So just start to feel the sensation. We're drawing the legs up toward the heart. And again, where you can hold on to is fine. You bring yourself into that sensation. Primarily, we're feeling this once again in the outer edge of our leg, into the glute tissue and piriformis and things like that. But we're feeling now into the energetic work of the gallbladder. So just allowing sensation that's beneficial, that's therapeutic, that's uncomfortable, and back off if it's too much, if it feels like it's causing injury. So this is where we really have been using our listening, our feeling, and our intuition skills. This is your experience. This is your personal experience today. So many times we are relying on externals for the directions of how to do things or where to go, what to do. We've lost the skill of really experiencing and touching into our own feelings. And so we have been inviting ourselves with great courage to do just that. So when we return to our moments today off our yoga mat, we can continue. We can continue the work. Maybe you need to draw in a little closer if you notice sensation or feelings have dissipated a little. Draw your bind in a little bit closer. Maybe you're resting your head on a block here, or just relaxing deeply through the back body. A few more rounds of the breath through center, and we will remain in this bind through the second side. So I'm going to encourage you to bring the feet down and shift your hips over to the same side as your top leg a little bit on your mat. Bring the legs back up and then allow this leg bind to drop to the opposite side with gravity. So again, we're just letting go. The legs are crossed and we're just dropping over to our second side with the legs crossed. And now we take our arm, same side arm as the top leg, and you can lift it up. I like to lift it up. It really gives me a sense of gravity here. And then I drop it back down to where it goes without the need of having it to touch. Maybe one side it did touch, but it's dropping down with gravity. A full surrender. Deciding how it feels through your neck spine, you can turn your head toward that arm and see how that feels sensationally. And you can also stay more neutral in the neck. You can also be more gentle in the neck and turn toward the same side as your knees. So feel that out as well as you experiment. Again, great opening here through the side seams of the body today, through the physical space between the ribs, which is all that breathing space, the breathing spaciousness that we need. We've, I'm sure, become very recently very constricted with a shallow, shortened breath, things that have taken our breath away lately. So open up here, open up into the kidneys once again, into the back. few more rounds, cycles of breath in and breath out. Let's come on back slowly. How slow can you go? Roll back to the back body. Uncross the legs. Shift the hips back into neutral. And there is no particular shape we make next, but Shavasana, the full shape of our surrendering, our full expression of how we need to surrender today. And this is personal. I'm taking a blanket under the knees. This is a great back support. We've been in that back area very deeply today. We've been in the hips. We've been in the heart. We've explored a lot. So whatever sensations that are lingering now, let them be. That those sensations, those deep, deep sensations, that's from the depth of your work. Let them be. They'll continue beyond this Shavasana today. Let them be a way, this portal for us, this feeling portal, a way for you to remind yourself that there's work here, that we've been storing things for years. Come into full relaxation in the body, in the limbs, in the belly, in the face, in the fingers and the toes. I'm going to share with you a poem called Kali by Mary Read Bogue. Kali, goddess, open me up, break me apart, gently at first. Whisper love to me as you tear me limb from limb. Destroy my pretty paradigms and shatter my shoddy illusions. Rip my seams asunder and tear the veil before my eyes. I want to see with your vision. My eyes have been blinded to the divine. I only see cars and buildings and smog, faces caked in makeup, bodies wrapped in designer clothing. Give me new sight to see colors, energy, spirit. Give me your breath that I might breathe life into the world, revive the dying. Inspire the languishing soul dead that roam the streets. Kiss my feet to dance upon the ashes of the dead and sing them into new life. Give me your courage to walk among the ashes of my named dreams, taking the dust and shaping it into charcoal. I smudge my spirit with the black remnants of who I used to be. I laugh. Nothing is freer than drawing with your bones. Failure does not exist when you know the freedom of dying. So let go as you continue in this corpse pose. To let die any parts of ourselves that we have courageously felt, leaned into, gotten in touch with so intimately that no longer is serving, that is no longer helpful, no longer necessary. May we have this Kali courage in the name and in the heart of compassion itself for all beings. Rest in the cycles of breath, the inhales, the exhales that you take. Let's awaken once again in our day, but transformed. Let's awaken with awareness. Let's awaken with courage, with this compassion, with this willingness to change. Wiggle the fingers, wiggle the toes. Start to awaken the body and your stretching, lengthening, feeling. And turning to your side, we thank the earth, we touch her, thank her for the support. We must be unified together to really work toward this planet, this Mother Earth herself, who so needs our unification. Rising with a buoyancy in our heart. As we rise, we know that this battleground brings us the opportunity and choice of change. And there's a buoyancy to that, an empowerment. Let's bring our hands to our heart and just bow into this place of love, this place of our compassion, our empathy, our unity, our connection. I thank you so much for doing the work, for diving in. May your work continue today and every day. And may we work together with courage. May we excavate, get in touch with, and may we surrender with unification as friends, in peace, in justice, and in love. Thank you. Namaste.
Namaste.
Thank you all so much.
Work.
Yeah, it worked. Thanks, Dexter.
Oh my God, Dexter, you're a lifesaver.
Yeah, that was a
He's
life.
you know what he is today? A root chakra. Because internet is root chakra.
Yeah.
He's a root chakra.
It was a root chakra. Because we acknowledge that we have to have internet in these days, right?
Yeah.
In this time.
Mm-hmm. King of the earth, Danielle. You see that? King of the earth element right here.
Absolutely. I'm saving it before it goes away.
We need you to model for one of our tarot cards we're making because we're using photography. Yeah. Will you model for us?
Yes, we're doing a.
And since he's the root chakra, he needs to be king of the earth.
I'm sharing and saving before it goes away. Yes.
Right, Danielle? Yeah. Isn't that a cool synchronicity?